Well, welcome everyone, and welcome back here to another episode of Connecting with Spirit. It's so good to have you join us here live once again on a Monday night as we connect to really just share some spiritual principles and principles for living a more fulfilling life. And my name is Les, and I'm one of the co-founders of the Flame of Eternal Light. And also joining me, who do we have?
And I'm Ella. Hi, everyone.
We've also got the lovely Ella, who's, again, another co-founder of the Flame of Eternal Light. So look, everyone, it's so good that you can join us here once again as we really open up the space to answer some of your questions on a weekly basis, to help you grow, to help you awaken through the heart and to connect to your higher consciousness and to the guidance of spirit. And in these weekly sessions, we're here every Monday at 7 o'clock. So make sure to hop onto our YouTube channel and to subscribe to the channel, to click on the notifications to receive reminders of when we're live. So Ella, welcome back tonight. And I know this week we've been chatting about an interesting topic, and it's the topic about forgiveness and forgiveness of the self, forgiveness of others, and how do we kind of navigate or move beyond having made mistakes or where we feel we've failed in life. And it's a big topic. I know for a lot of my clients that I deal with that they're always carrying some of these things emotionally. But from your perspective, why do you believe, forgiveness is so important these days?
It's extremely important. Otherwise, we're dealing with unsolved issues. And those issues are becoming eventually blocks in our energy system, on our aura. And by presenting like a blocks.
Yeah, and as they kind of present as these blocks, sometimes we really don't know what can quite happen within us. And so it is important that when we're on this journey and this path, that we actually find our own pathway to connecting with spirit in a deeper way and really receiving what we need at this time and in our connection. So on this kind of channel, what we're really here to do is to share some insight and inspiration. And hopefully lovely Ella will be able to join us and come back. I'll have to see whether she's still around and connected in with us. And let's see what happens there on the way. And hopefully she'll be able to rejoin. But this kind of whole message around connecting with spirit and also the act of self-forgiveness became really important this week. I was connected in and really working through a process of doing some self-forgiveness for myself. And what I realized was that many years ago, I actually went through quite a big business breakup with a business partner. We had been promoting ourselves and trying to bring in a new speaker from Queensland. And after 6 months of putting energy and effort into this whole exercise, this particular project that we were on, it all went pear-shaped. And we really lost everything through those 6 months, all the time and energy, the money that we invested. And it really came down to this process of, how can we release this from the energy field? And it was funny, this kind of situation happened almost 15 years ago. And yet this week, there I was dealing with the same pattern coming up. And so I had to really sit there and connect with it and ask myself, what's really happening here? And what I realized is that while I had dealt with the situation, there were still aspects of, I suppose, feeling responsible for that situation, or what we call mistakes. Now, I don't know whether you've ever had a mistake in life, but as human beings, we're all here, as my guides tell me, for one reason, and that is to experience and to experiment. When we connect with spirit, the spirit world will tell us that there really is no failure in this experience of life. It's only the perception that we take on from others, the judgments of others, that create this energy of failure or feeling like, we haven't done enough. But how do we deal with it after the fact? We've all been through life. We've all had experiences that didn't quite work out. But yet still, I even find with my clients, like a client session I did today, I had a client where after a significant marriage breakup and business breakup, that there was still this energy of anger and resentment and this feeling of having failed in the energy system. And when I talk about the energy system, we're really talking about also holding it in the aura, the auric field around us. So, this is where this practice of self forgiveness can become really important. And it's something we need to do on an ongoing basis. But the first thing we need to be aware of is, what am I continuing to carry in my energy field that is maybe holding back my energy? What is it that's there that I have been holding on to? And a good way to do that is to simply stop and to scan, to become aware of what you might be holding in your energy field from the past. By simply holding a space of awareness, hopefully you'll connect in. And also, if you're trying to move forward, or finding that you're stuck or that you're not really getting the result you really want, then that can be a significant sign as well on the path that you're holding energies from the past in your energy field and aura. Ella, welcome back. You went for a little holiday, but I'm glad to see you're back here. And I know you were sharing something important at the time, but I've just been chatting about how experiences in the past, sometimes we have to go back and clear them and forgive them and release them. I know
Uh-huh.
you were sharing with me just beforehand a situation for yourself where you've had to do this. So do you want to just share a little bit about that?
Yes, yes, sure. Well, I've been in this beautiful, really very understanding, very clear relationship for 7 years. And one day I've been hurt. And I didn't expect this and I didn't know how to handle this. So obviously I removed myself from the relationship and the situation. And it took me 3 years to forgive, but forgive from the heart. And during those 3 years, I was doing a lot of work on myself. I saw a few healers. I did the soul retriever. I did cut the silver cord between us. I talked with him on the soul level, like soul to soul. And as a last result, I actually started to see a counselor because I wanted to know where did I go wrong. My feeling was that um, yes, he hurt me, but perhaps I wasn't innocent completely. So saying this, and I didn't want to really see. I avoided to see him, and one day I kind of was ready. And it just happened that he called me and invited me for dinner. So, and I remember when I saw him, and he was wearing white business shirt. And for me, this white shirt it's a white flag. It's like, please forgive me. That's the way I
Mm,
read it. So we didn't spoke much, but I felt I actually saw the scarf of my heart were that were healed instantaneously. And I just felt I am back home. And I opened my heart to him the way I opened my heart like a long time ago when he stepped into it. And it was beautiful. The bonus for me was that he did apologize. But I saw his heart and he was very humble with all this.
yeah, thank you for sharing that. There's a couple of important messages in there. I think, obviously forgiveness sometimes takes a bit of time. We have to both be ready to be in that space.
Mm.
And so, as they say, time heals all wounds. So, yes, having some time and space. The first thing, as you mentioned, is just being aware. And I think you're right there. Like in relationships, especially when we are hurt or when we feel betrayed, or all those things that happen in relationship, it often takes two people to create those situations. So we do need to look at it and go, well, what was my responsibility in that? And all we can do is heal and take ownership for our own responsibility. The other soul obviously has to come to that place for
Mm.
themselves. So thank you for sharing. I think there's some powerful messages there. Ella, from your perspective, why do you feel people sometimes find it hard to let go and to forgive not only themselves, but also others?
Because they in the mind and they thinking through the ego, and arrogancy, it's a big part of it. So once you drop the thinking to your heart and try to figure out yourself, not the partner, then you might come with the revelations. And yes, it is difficult because this hurt is not only in our heart, but it's also in our energy system. This is one big stress, betrayal, and with someone rejecting us. It's in the energy system, and it shows as a blob in the auric field. It's like very dense energy, and it's actually at the end depleting us from our energy because the energy, the current doesn't flow the way it should. But it's not only this. Every stress we are going through, every illness, every anesthetic we have, it's sitting in our energy system and blocking our energy.
Yeah, so I think the greatest thing from that is that, it's becoming aware of our energy, becoming more conscious of when we might be holding on or things are draining us. And as you kind of also mentioned there, it's the awareness of being ready to release that and to let that go. So, just one of the things I'd like to share before we kind of come to some encouragement for the week for people in discussing this area of self-forgiveness and forgiving others. When I was reflecting this week on that experience I had that I was sharing earlier about being in business and then losing everything and feeling like I'd made a mistake and that I was responsible, this week I came across a great question in a book, and it really opened me up to look at things from a different perspective. And the question was simply this, and I put it on the screen here. If no one was judging me, would I still feel as if I had made a mistake? And the interesting thing is, when I went back to that experience back in probably around 2006, and I reflected on what I did, what I realized is that the judgment that I took on was actually from my business partner at the time. It wasn't mine. If I had been there, I probably wouldn't have judged myself or felt that it was bad. I would have just been doing what I was always doing. So it wasn't my energy, it was somebody else's energy. And I think this is a good question to ask, because often we allow other people's energy, like Ella said, when we feel betrayed or we feel hurt, we allow it to impact our energy field. And what I'll also say to you is, if that's you, then yes, definitely use forgiveness. Start to look at how you can release that. But at the same time, if you're struggling with this is the time to go find a healer. Find someone to support you on your healing journey. Because often somebody who's not caught in the experience can come in and hold the space for you to release these deeper energies and these deeper patterns. Ella, anything more you want to share about that before we move on to some encouragement for this week?
I probably will say there is no mistakes, but lessons to learn. And we're going to be repeating the same mistakes and be at the same situations with the same partners until we're going to have aha moment and we learn our lesson, and then we will progress.
So excellent. So I think what I get from that tonight is that, also every relationship we have is a reflection. It's teaching us something. We're drawing people into our life to learn, to experience, and to grow. So Ella, I think that's a good point as we come to a bit of a close tonight. What would be your encouragement for people this week then? How can we all embrace a greater level of self-forgiveness, but also really find our freedom again to thrive?
This is a very good question. And the answer would be, we are trying to work on our, no, take this back. We are working hard to have the best version of ourselves, okay? And with this in mind, I will strongly encourage people to self-reflect from time to time. Doesn't have to be every day, but there are moments like special birthday or New Year, so like between, you by yourself in isolation. Just think for a moment, did you do the right thing? How could you improve yourself? And how could you address the situation differently? Are you happy the way you reacted? And just start journaling. And you will be surprised after a few months when you go back and read what you wrote. You will be surprised, I am sure, in a
Fantastic.
good way.
Thank you for sharing. And look, my encouragement for this week is twofold. The first is, as I did with a client today, is go back to the time where you feel you may not have completely followed your path in the way you wanted to, whatever that time or age or situation was, and take the wisdom of your higher self, your wiser self, back to that time and simply hold a space of compassion. Today with a client, I just allow them to experience that love and compassion from the wise self that has learned all the lessons and take it back to the 6-year-old, and to hold that space and to honor that 6-year-old and to give them that experience of compassion and to release. And the second thing I would just suggest to you is also just to remember that in every experience we have, there is a gift. So whatever you've been through, to go to that point in time and make a list and just write down maybe 20 reasons, 30 reasons of how this experience was a gift for you, how it has become a blessing. When I look back at that business experience I had, I've learned so much and grown so much. So use these tools today, take them away, and hopefully you'll begin to tap into that energy of self-forgiveness, self-awareness. And the final thing I'll share is just remember, it starts with yourself first before you start going around forgiving everybody else. So,
Always.
Ella, thank you for sharing your experience today. And thank you for, coming back actually after dropping out for a little bit, coming back to share with us, because people really needed to hear your story tonight. I will just say to people, we do have our Uplift Spiritual Summit that's taking place next week. So if you're around and you're listening, make sure to hop onto the website, look at the QR code, come and join us for this amazing week of some great transformational speakers. 10 speakers over 5 amazing sessions that's taking place online and also on Saturday, the 16th of March. So, Ella, that brings us to the end of another little session of Connecting with Spirit. So to everyone watching, it's a goodbye from me tonight. Thank you for being here. We won't be with you next Monday because of Uplift Spiritual Summit, but we will hopefully be back the Monday after. Do you want to say goodbye as well, Ella, before we wrap up?
Bye for now, and see you in 2 weeks.
Take care, everyone. Enjoy the night, and we'll look forward to seeing you very soon on another episode of Connect.